I, wanted to make this solo record, and then I had to think about how I would do it. Since I didn't have a band, I had to figure out what that pathway would be. If you're talking about rock and roll, the first thing that you have to have is a drummer. That's the way albums are made, the traditional way, like old school way, and with the whole band there in the studios. But you've got to get a great drum track, and then you can make that opens the door to everything else in a rock and roll album. But I have a friend at Sony, Jeremy Holiday, and he said, how about this guy Ryan Hoyle? He played with the Collective Soul. He's got like a drum studio. He's out in LA, records drum tracks, and maybe you should get in touch with him. Well, of course, I went out there, and it's a great place he's got, and it was just a joyful thing to cut it. But it did take some time. I had to go out there. I'd do like 2 tracks, come home. A couple of months later, I'd go out and do some more. It went on like that for that. So there's the start of a long time. Along with that, out in LA, I asked him about bass players, and he said, well, I know this guy, Brad Smith. He, used to be with Blind Melon. He played a lot of great bass stuff for me. Guy Patrick Miller, he was playing some guitar parts for me, but I really didn't know how to produce that, so I didn't get that quite right. So I talked to him about it, and he told me about Stephen DeCutis and a Sound Spa. There he sits.
A mutual friend of ours, Adam Small, an excellent musician and bass player. Somehow Dave was corresponding with Adam. I'm not exactly sure how they knew each other. Recommended that Dave get in touch with me, help Dave put his record together.
He not only has, the production chops and engineering chops, but he can really play. Analog glory.
After hearing Dave's demos, hearing the voice of Eye of the Tiger coming through my monitors, the process was effortless, and I attribute that to the fact that he and I think exactly alike musically.
That sound, it was punchy, bright, clear, but ballsy and all that.
Working with Dave is a joy. Producer heaven, man. I mean, just, this record was all creativity. Working with Ryan Hoyle's drum tracks, there was no correction going on. Like a lot of times when I'm working here, I'm basically spending my time correcting things, tuning things or whatever. I mean, it was just top to bottom creativity. When Dave and I would start mixing these songs, first thing I would do is pull the bass drum up, and Dave and I would look at each other for a half an hour with a smile on our face.
Stevie's production, he's got all the tools, and every one of these boxes is hooked up, and every one of them gets into these records, so all the stuff here, there's some really amazing gear here. People can expect, I think it has a lot of classic rock feel to it, it does, but yet it sounds like a modern record to me. The songs on this record are about stuff that means stuff to me, I mean, and I that's sort of my rule with songs, is to have them be, not just sort of something made up. Always You. That was actually a song I've had kicking around for a long time, and it's about your sort of your conscience. Inevitably, it will speak to you and warn you about things you might be contemplating that you shouldn't do, that you should treat people right and try to do the right thing. Hope was actually, I wrote that song in New York City right after 9/11, and that was my sort of response to an unbelievable act of destruction, for an ideology which is, incomprehensible to me. And so I am a hopeful person, but I think it has a general sort of overall, everyday meaning. Yeah, Kaleidoscope, it's just sort of, it was sort of, like I said, that was something words that my wife wrote, and it's kind of it's about life song. It's kind of like, one of those things of, reflecting on your life. That's what it is. I hope you enjoy Darklight. I did, and the best experience recording I've ever had.
I love that guy.